Yeah, so show before the show stuff. I'm uh back playing music again with
Hmm.
a local cover band.
Have you practiced
I
with them?
practiced today. Yep, and it was trying. The drummer's a good drummer. I've known him for a while. The singer's a good singer, but she can tell she contributes very little, like singers mostly do,
Hmm.
and also thinks that she's the boss, like singers generally
Ah,
do.
that's tough.
And instead of actually any rehearsal, we ended up learning a bunch of new stuff because she was too busy chasing squirrels to rehearse and wanted to learn new
Mm,
things for her. So
mm.
Friday night might be a
A shit show.
literal disaster. Yeah. But it won't be my fault.
Right.
I was 40 times more prepared than they thought.
Well, they probably thought
Uh,
you were just going to show up
of the
and
55 songs they sent me, I had 30 of them nailed, like
right.
note for note perfect. And
I'm imagining
the
though
rest
it's
of them were like, hey, just give me a key and I can play it. Like, just tell me what key it's in, we'll go. But
I'm
everything I learned was like riffier, or it was something really complicated, or the bass line like specifically kind of made the song. So
right.
like it was stuff that had to be perfect. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
I was going to say I figure most of what they want you to play is not very like complex for you. Like it's
some of
generally
yeah, some of like the Motown, like I'll have to learn a bunch of Jackson 5 stuff.
mm,
And what's complicated about that for a bass player is that
is it the
on
timing of
the
it?
first Jackson 5 record, well, it's all very syncopated, but it wasn't played by a bass player. It was played by a saxophone player that happened to know how to play
Okay.
bass and guitar. So it's very notey, it's very fast,
Right.
and it's very, very syncopated, which is good. It's
Probably more
great.
fun to play then.
It is. It's very fun to play. It's not boring to me. Like, um, black genres are just way better musically than other than like super heavy stuff.
Right.
But like your normal like rock, country,
Right. It's
stuff like
pretty
that. Like I would as a bass player, I'd rather play funk, R&B, hip hop, stuff like
right.
that. Like it's better music.
Yeah.
It's written better. So
That's fair. I think culturally, like African tribes, like because music is so ingrained into their like
everything
culture,
they do, yeah.
like it just makes more sense for it to be
And
better.
also, like anything that's inherently American was inherently black music first. So, like
Right.
jazz is American.
Yeah.
The French took it over briefly, but that is an American art form, and
Mhm.
it's derivative of blues, which is an
Right.
African American art form. So,
Yeah.
like everything's like everything complex, harmonically, melodically, even rhythmically, has its roots in African American genres.
Right.
So it's a lot more. It's a lot more fun for me. Um, Learn typical cover band shit like "Living on a Prayer" and a bunch of
Mm.
Journey shit, and
Your favorite.
and bunch of stuff nobody wants to play, and then
But all the old white people want
Mhm.
to hear it. So
yeah, exactly.
and
And
they tip
then-
the best.
Yeah, actually, all the stuff I enjoy playing is stuff like the Jackson 5 or Marvin Gaye, James Brown, stuff like that. And then I like newer pop songs typically are pretty good. So like all the Bruno Mars stuff's super fucking fun to play. All that stuff's cool. But it was a trying day.
Trying, yeah.
It was
I imagine
abilities don't match. Me and the drummer are real professionals, and then everybody else are kind of
they do it for fun or self-taught or like
they're just not very good.
no. Well, fair.
you know what I mean? I mean, it just
I've been wanting to do a vocal track on like a death metal album for so long.
well, we
Like,
can write one. If you want
yeah,
to.
yeah. I suck at guitar, and I would be so rusty trying to play it. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta have some athleticism on the fingerboard to play death metal and do it well.
I mean, I could sit there and like play a hardcore like just
Everybody can
boneheaded
play
crap,
hardcore.
but like
Speaking of, that's a separate rant. I got Joey listened to that podcast, and he
he
sent me
was
this
talking
thing. He's
about
like,
Hatebreed.
by the way, Hatebreed can actually play all this other stuff, and I'm like, those guys actually can shred, and I'm like,
No, I told him straight up.
they're a little bit better than they are in Hatebreed. That's what I was like. I was like, no.
I straight up just told him shut it down. I was like, Hatebreed sucks. I can't.
I like Hatebreed. I like hardcore. I know it's boneheaded. It's not a musician's genre. I don't really care what anybody says.
It's fun
It's
for
a
people,
whole lot of
but
fun. It's awesome. It sounds good. It's fucking cool. It's not smart music.
I would just so much rather listen to deathcore than hardcore. It's just better music in my opinion. The tone is better.
Even in deathcore though, the stuff that leans that way is still more death metal than it is core. Like when I think about that, like Aborted, they're deathcore.
Really?
But I really think of them as
I would
king of death metal right now. Like,
I
they're like
would
really
definitely lean
true
towards death
to
metal.
But it's engineered and mixed in a way that's more modernized and familiar, like a deathcore record.
I mean, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
But musically, I would lean towards calling them death metal.
Like those guys can actually fucking play.
They're
really
insanely
fucking
talented.
Yeah, there's even at their best, nobody in Hatebreed's holding those guys' jockstrap. Like,
no,
I mean,
not even close. Sorry, Joey.
And I really do love hardcore. And in my old age, I said it on this podcast 1,000 times. I like hardcore more every day. Like it's super fun. I get it.
Great.
It's
gym
awesome.
Music, you know.
That's not something I'm going to teach myself to make myself a better musician. Now.
Right. Yeah. You might, if you just want to sit there and like goof around, or if you're drunk one day. But like,
if I want to dial in like a nasty bass tone or something on a distortion pedal or something like that, yeah, that stuff's cool. But like, even like minuscule, like lesser genres of metal is more difficult to play and more musically intelligent than even like listening to like Slipknot or something is like, that is better musically on paper than hardcore is. It's harder to play.
I thought you were going to lean more into metalcore than new metal. But.
Yeah, like even like new metal stuff is musically more intelligent. Yeah. Like harder to play. Like so
technically some hard rock is.
Yeah, I mean depending on
the band, but
I mean
some hard rock is straight up just probably very, very similar, just different styling.
I mean, some of it can be pretty dumb too, but like
it just depends on what bands. That's at the end of the day.
I mean, hardcore is kind of the fucking country music of hard genres. Like it's it's like
just punching them in the nuts.
I still love it, but it's kind of.
I mean, I get it. I know
dumb
what you
music
mean.
For dumb people. That's kind of what it is. You know what I mean? You're great. You're drinking Steel Reserve instead of Busch Light, but like it's still Neanderthal music. Yeah. Like, and that's what makes it fun. And hell, that's the appeal of country music to people that like it. Like, I get it. Like,
it's just fun. Like,
yeah, it's fun.
That's what people say about country concerts. It's like it's fun.
It's fun. Like,
I get to wrestle pigs in the mud with music in the background. That's every Rock the South ever.
Yeah.
Fucking god damn, I hate that show so much. I guess I don't really have any show before the show stuff now, so we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
In a minute.
Well, if we've crapped on your musical genre, sorry, not sorry. I really don't care. And as a hardcore fan, I feel like and an appreciator of it, I feel like I've earned the right to say those things.
I mean,
just
hey, the way I look at it, music as a whole, like
I bet Joey didn't think I was going to take this conversation that much further, though.
Probably. My thing about music is you like what you like, and that's fine. I'm not going to tell you can't listen to something, but I will actively tell you it's bad. I mean, it's if I don't like it, or if it's just bad music, I'm like it. It's like hey, I guess I shouldn't say that. Sleep Token is one of those bands that I personally just don't get the hype around, but I'm not going to actively shit on it. Whereas like you can name a generic country musician, I will probably say they fucking suck. Like
you can even if you don't like Sleep Token, you can listen to it and tell that it's musically intelligent.
Right.
Like if it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
Yeah.
Joey, we love you, buddy. We're picking. We're mostly kidding.
I mean, at the end of the day, listen to whatever you want. It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to affect my life. But
my favorite hardcore is the dumbest, silliest, most Neanderthal type of hardcore is my favorite hardcore. So
right,
it is what it is. So.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take a shot, Richard.
I forgot about that. Yeah. That's an old meme.
We're not drinking anything right now.
No. Well, I've got a Mountain Dew Baja Blast Zero. These have been like a staple. These and Dr. Pepper Zero have been the staple of my diet.
I really lean into the diet drinks when I have a sweet tooth and I'm dieting. So.
It's not, and I think I said this last time, it's not really the sweetness. It's not the getting the sugary craving. It's just fills me. Like I feel full when I drink more carbonated drinks, so it just helps me kind of get through the day better.
That makes sense. 100%. Anyway, that is the show before the show. I'm Zach. He's Nathan. You can follow us at Coleman_Barbell, at Nathan Skedios, at Sip It and Rip It. It's the Sip It, Rip It. Oh my God. It's the Sip It and Rip It podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, watch us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, leave comments.
Speaking of YouTube,
ratings.
we have the camera in a new position today. So if you like it, let us know. If you dislike it, let us know. If you're indifferent, you don't have to say anything because you're indifferent about it.
Yeah.
It just does not affect your viewing experience at all. And just don't care.
Don't care. Yeah. Thanks to Justin at the Butcher for that sponsorship of the show. That's pretty awesome. Jam Logistics. That's another big one.
Yep.
And one buys us meat, one buys us liquor.
Yep.
So thank you.
Did you say the Butcher? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, Justin Smith and the Butcher. And
okay.
Jam Logistics, Chad Patterson.
I guess my ears went out because I was distracted. But,
yeah, that's it.
Butcher is cool. They have, and it's probably horribly bad for you as far as like macro breakdown, but they have this smoked bologna, and I want to try it.
I love smoked bologna, but I like bologna in general. So
I'm not a big bologna guy, but I want to try that because it sounds interesting, and I'm sure it's good for that on a sandwich with some cheese or something.
Probably is. It's probably great. I did have a conversation with Justin.
Yeah.
No public pressure. I am adding a little bit of public pressure. His smoked turkey sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I hate turkey. His smoked turkey is so good. It's so good. I had a conversation with him Monday about him starting a meal prep business out of the Butcher. Yeah. And leaning on that and a couple other things he does to do that. So hopefully we'll have pre-prep meals from the Butcher soon.
That would be sick.
That would be so sick. Yeah.
That would be.
Absolutely.
I can imagine, like, because you can do, let's see, if you're doing turkey, what would go great with turkey?
I'd be okay with white rice and a vegetable. His turkey's that good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he'll doctor it up with some type of sauce or,
make it all blend together really well. Potatoes are actually super great for cuts because they are.
It's amazing what is good for cuts when it doesn't have butter and sour cream on it.
I mean, I do like just a little bit of olive oil and then garlic salt and Italian seasoning thrown in the oven. And it comes out like really, really good. So something like that with the turkey, I feel like would be good. And then like a sauce to mix together. Obviously some vegetables. I do green beans. So
well, if they do it, whatever they do will be.
I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah.
Turkey and green beans.
And like turkey and pork tenderloin probably go a long way.
Pork tenderloin, you could do like a light barbecue sauce, but you'd have to probably make it at home.
Well, I mean, listen, if you're making barbecue sauce like it's traditionally made, it's mostly brown sugar, so it's just going to add to your carbs. You're not adding fat with it.
I know. I just mean like you'll have to be conscious of how many carbs for the total calories because people are going to be looking at the calories.
As far as I can tell, the plan is like you'll have macros and total calories and ingredients on it. I mean, that's actually legally how you have to do that thing. So like it'll have everything on it, so you'll know, if you're getting 10 grams of carbs from your sauce or not.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So, but no pressure. But
it would be cool. I bet people would be excited to try it. I'd be excited to try it. I'd go buy a few.
Yeah, I mean, we were buying their turkey breasts pretty regular for a while. So,
their beef is king, but
beef is king. Yeah,
beef
is great.
I haven't had beef in like I don't even know.
We're talking about my infatuation with non-fat dairy right now. I've really leaned into that for my main protein source. And outside of that, it's been chicken and lean pork.
Yep, I've just been doing chicken and then cottage cheese sauce. Which, by the way, I made so that chicken Alfredo I usually make, I throw it in the crock pot. I saw a recipe. It's the same sauce, but they did blackened chicken. They did it in a pan, and they would blacken the chicken in the pan, take it out. They'd put like some garlic and some peppers and onions. I'd ditch the peppers and onions. And then mustard in the pan. And then they'd pour the Alfredo sauce in, stir it all up, so you get the seasoning from the chicken that was cooked in there, the mustard and the garlic, and your Alfredo sauce, and that shit was so fucking good. And because the macros in it are so good because it's cottage cheese, low-fat cream cheese, and Parmesan, and then like all that. Oh man, it was good shit.
It sounds good.
It was. And then I did broccoli with it.
Have you done the cottage cheese ranch yet?
I have not. I bet it's good.
Two cups of fat-free cottage cheese, a splash of skim milk to thin it up, a package of the ranch seasoning.
Yeah.
And you have to blend it to get the chunks out, but lights out, best ranch you'll ever eat. You'll never miss it. I'm not kidding. You'll never miss the fat.
I believe you because of like cheese.
If you need it like super thin, like salad dressing thin, you could do 1 cup cottage cheese, 1 cup
like Fairlife
of like Fairlife fat free. Yeah, but unmatched protein count. Like it's free protein because you're using it as a condiment.
Right.
You know, like so.
I just don't know how I would use it as far as like what I would eat with it.
Wraps. I do like
that's fair, yeah.
The low carb mission wraps are actually about 32 grams of carbs, but they also have like 30 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
So they're really, really fibrous and really, really good. So I do like
grilled chicken,
fat-free cheese, the ranch, a vegetable or two.
Yeah. Honestly,
wrap it up like a burrito and go. So,
throw some lettuce in there. That's probably what I do is lettuce, but that sounds pretty good, honestly.
It is extremely good. And like daily fibers knocked out 1 meal.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting 30, 40 grams of protein. I really laid the chicken to it like 7-8 ounces.
Right.
Because it's a pretty big wrap.
Oh, man.
And then fat-free cheese is a hack too because it's pure protein.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I used to do fat-free cheese all the time. I mostly just because I'm doing like the Alfredo. I haven't used it for anything lately because my macros are so dialed in at this point, and I'm losing weight really fast. So
there's no reason to adjust.
There's no reason to adjust. The only thing I've done different this go around is I blackened both of my things of chicken. So there's a little extra olive oil, but I'm not terribly worried about it because again, I'm losing weight incredibly fast.
Right.
Which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yep, absolutely. So that knocks out the introduction.
Long ass introduction.
What did you do in the gym this week?
The gym has been pretty good. I've been doing a lot of SSB squats with a 3-count eccentric, and I've finally gotten to the point where my knees just don't hurt anymore and my lower back doesn't hurt. And it may actually have got me into a position where I can mechanically do a low bar squat.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, all this work that I've done to build incredibly strong quads, and like now that I'm putting all this in the posterior with the sumo deadlifts, I may actually have a squat now.
Yeah.
I may next year, assuming I find a meet and go to it. I think I could squat over 600 pounds.
Good.
If everything continues to progress the way it is without pain and stuff. Because I mean, I'm not squatting heavy and I'm not squatting a lot, but I'm squatting pain free, and that's the thing we were talking about for the longest time is that if we could just get rid of the pain,
it's progressible.
We can do something with this. So, and hack squat, same thing. Finding a good position for it. Joe is talking about putting me on reverse bands now with it and loading it more, and I was like, I mean, we can do whatever you want to, man. You're the boss, so I'm just doing what you tell me. Bench this week was a little janky, but it's because CNS fatigue was really high. I only ended up benching like 2 plates, like not feeling great. It's all my benching is close grip on the incline and the flat. So not feeling great. Didn't bench a whole lot. Deadlifts, I went higher than I was supposed to by a significant amount. I pulled like nothing, like 445 or something for a set of 5, but I was supposed to do like 385 or 395 or something. And then I actually went and pulled 485 and did something wonky, and the bar twisted while I was pulling up and got into my adductor and my pec and my left glute. So all of this side had to stabilize for the bar getting out of position, which is just one of those like sumo things, because if technically you're off by a little bit, you kind of just are fucked. And I was just positionally off by just a little bit, which caused the bar to move and just ended up hurting myself. Not badly. It was like a couple days and I was feeling fine, but that was pretty much my week at the gym. Diet wise, down to I was at 102.5 kilos this morning. So
225.
Yeah, a little over 225 if you want to count the point, whatever. So pretty close. I mean, like 8-ish pounds away from my goal of 217, and I'm like 2.5. This will be 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
I think this will be the either next week or this week is the end of my. I can't remember. I'm either on week 3 or week 4, starting tomorrow. So I've lost a significant amount of weight in a very short amount of time. And I was actually asking Joe about it. I was like, "Do you think I'm losing weight too fast? And you're worried about any like atrophy?" And he said, "No. As long as I'm taking even a TRT dose, I shouldn't have to worry about atrophy." And I was like, "That's interesting," because I even TRT, like even if I was taking a super physiological dose of testosterone, I would feel like
something would happen.
Some amount of atrophy would happen, but he doesn't seem super concerned with it. And I was like, well, you know more about the body than I do, so like I'll defer to you. And he said if you can get to 217 faster, then good, because that way we can start putting muscle back on, and that's where you're going to see the most of your change. His ideology is cut the weight as fast as possible and then build incredibly slowly back up.
That makes a whole lot of sense. I mean,
that was your philosophy for a long time. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah, I mean, it is. My main philosophy is cut on as many calories as possible, bulk on as few.
Yeah.
That being said, I feel like what he's asking is mitigated by, I can add cardio to your program.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, where we're creating a calorie deficit from work and not from
and
food.
That's one thing that I really want to do, is to add more cardio on the weekends and stuff. It's just incredibly difficult to find time to do it.
Yep.
And that's why I've considered getting like a walking pad for the house, so I can just do it at like midnight, like while everyone else is asleep. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it.
Real cheap ways, the old stand everything vertical diet ways, take a 10-minute walk after every meal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's also just challenging as far as like my day-to-day life.
Yep.
Not so challenging at work, because I walk around all the time at work. I can literally make a lap around the warehouse at any point in time.
Sure.
But when I'm at home, when I have to watch baby, like I have to either take her outside, take her with me, and then like, what is she getting, and do I have to watch her? So it's like, where can I find this time to insert it in? And I feel like just at the end of the day, when everybody else is asleep, is the best time for me, at least on my current schedule. But that's neither here nor there, because I'm still losing weight incredibly fast. So.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely try to encourage that pickup, because I want to, for the same reason like the TRT dose helps, like keeping calories high as possible and still being in a deficit, helps with muscle retention, stuff like that. So I want it to be over with as quick as possible so I can go back to eating.
Right.
That being said, and I think most clients feel that way, but I mean, these bodybuilders I got right now, like they were surprised about how much food they got in a cut, and because it's so clean, 2,500 calories is a really pretty large amount of food when it's all coming from rice, vegetables, and chicken and fish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Non-fat dairy. I mean, that's where they're getting. So, I mean, it's really a pretty tremendous amount of food.
Yeah. Volume is high.
Volume is incredibly high. And then on the bulks, we try to keep, relatively the same food. The exception is we move to fattier chicken, a chicken thigh. We move to red meat.
Yeah.
We move to allowing sauces, stuff like that, and then typically, depending on the client, we may have a cheat meal or two a week.
Right.
I feel like that helps a lot with the bodybuilding people, because they're just getting them basically loaded with cheat meals are still kind of controlled. Like, it's going to be like a steak and a potato.
Yeah.
It's not going to be cheeseburger or pizza.
Right.
It's going to be like steak and potato, sushi, something.
Right.
High volume.
Just something a little more fun to eat.
Yeah, a lot more fun to eat, probably. But and then I lean on cereal a lot for cuts. Personally, and I have clients who are the same. Like fat-free milk, rice checks, really fucking good, highly palatable. You can eat a ton of it, and it's generally pretty positive for your macros. So, I mean, very little fat, if any.
Yeah,
it's 2 or 3 grams a serving on the rice checks.
I can't remember. I know Frosted Flakes is like 1 gram per serving, and I know that because I had to eat 3 cups of it every day
with Joe. Yeah. I mean,
that was challenging.
There's ways around that. But I agree with that. I agree with that philosophy completely.
Yeah.
Just same thing when you're in a caloric surplus. If you're eating just what you need and then a little above, we put on less fat when we move back up. So much so, I've done this for myself, and I've done this to a couple of clients that I've actually seen body fat drop
Mm-hmm.
to a point in the bulk. Like there's going to be a point you're going to start
Right.
putting on some fat, but like seen body fat drop like first like 3-4 weeks,
Right.
like which is pretty incredible. That means
Well,
you're getting fitter. If you're getting anytime we're in a position where we're getting fitter and bigger,
Positive.
it's a positive. yeah, absolutely.
Well, and when you think about it, like if you're talking about like visibly, like obviously your body fat percentage changes based on the amount of muscle you have too. When you start eating your more carbs again, your muscles get fuller, and that's where that change comes
Yeah,
from. Because
absolutely.
you're filling out what was already there,
Yeah.
and then like your body fat, it just the total amount doesn't drop, but your percentage drops because your body weight comes up, and it's all your muscles being full.
Yep.
So
it's a good thing.
oh yeah,
That's a great thing. So like I said, anytime
then you get to train
bigger and
harder.
get fitter, you know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. So
Speaking of, what did you do in the gym this week?
yeah, I need to get into that. Larson's and Trap Bar on Monday, both of which went well. I'm having it's old shoulder pain. It's nothing new, but I'm having some shoulder pain on my press and movements right now. And that's probably indicative of that's the only thing I can train hard. So we're training where we normally have like 1.5 frequency where we have with Ron, like if I was in prep, typically have a true pressing day, and then I would get something very like limited range of motion, very lightweight. Like I've had like close grip 2-board before, something like that. As that secondary press. But right now it's the only thing I can train hard. So I get 2 competition press days, both of which well over 300 pounds for a pretty good bit of reps, you know, so like, so that's a little hard. Pain wise, it's just not moving. It's not allowing it to move with much explosiveness. I'm used to a lot of when something goes for me on bench press, it goes and it goes quick. I just don't have that like snappiness, that violence in the bar right now. And it's just because I'm hurting a little.
Yeah. Your body is actively preventing you from being explosive.
Yeah, I had 345 for sets of 4 on bench press the other day. And that's really easy weight for me. And it was a grind.
Yeah.
Just because I don't get that pop on the bar. So that means time under tension's
higher.
It means a lot of things. It's physically, even though the weight's light for me, it's physically more fatiguing because I'm guiding the bar down, you know, where a rep normally takes a second, it'd probably taken 3. Like, so it's, you know,
but that is scientifically speaking, that should be indicative of more muscle growth because
that one would think so. Trap bar is going well. I mean, that's my least favorite deadlift variation. But what's good for me right now is that's basically my primary squat.
Yeah.
So you get a lot more quad development out of a trap bar than you do a regular bar. So that's going well. I have a real deadlift day, but it's off a 2-inch block. Working up mid to high 400s now. That's going well. Really ready to pull from the floor, but it's good that the quad can handle those kind of loads. Yep. And then, which that's still a lot deadlift for me, but also, you know, rehabbing.
Yep.
And then second press day was regular bench press. That was the 345 I mentioned. And then yesterday I did my isometric stuff, and then the BFR heel elevated tempo back squats. And they were a motherfucker.
I'm not surprised.
And he threw it on me this week. There's a 25-pound jump this week.
Ooh.
It's still a pretty lightweight for me, but
that's aggressive jump though.
Yeah, blood flow restriction definitely. We've messed with it before. Like if you do it on an accessory movement, like if you do BFR for arms, you're typically working like 30 to 50% of your 1 rep max. So this is definitely still
following
sub 50.
Yeah,
but it's also on a relatively recent quad injury. I'm relatively deconditioned to squats, and it's painfully slow to go to a 3-1-3 tempo.
Oh yeah,
with any load. So like, but it's getting me in good positions, getting me out of bad habits, stuff like that. So I told him yesterday when I turned everything in, I was like, this is something I really want to keep for the foreseeable future because I feel like I haven't had a quad pump on squats in years. So like I'm fine. That means I'm finding my quads. I'm doing things like they're supposed to be, done. Everything that should combat how I feel. The only thing is that just the pressing volume is just super high right now because it's the only thing I can train hard.
Yeah.
And So I'm a little wore down on that, but that was my week.
Yeah. Pretty good week, honestly.
It was a good week. Yeah, nothing. I definitely feel every week in this, I feel more like I can do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's good. Toying around with the idea of maybe, I haven't talked to Ron about this, but maybe doing a bench only competition this year just to see if I can clip 440, 450.
Yeah.
Definitely tracking that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 400 plus pound Larson now, so
pretty solid.
It's tracking. That definitely bench is tracking upward. But other than it just hurting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So you might see me in a singlet again sooner than expected.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yep.
Find something close by that's local. Just pop in.
Bench only probably gonna have to be an SPF meet, but
no,
you don't think so?
You can
I can register for.
You can register for anything.
Yeah.
Like
just show up.
PLU bench only.
Yep.
I don't know what's close.
Well, I was specifically thinking about like specifically a bench press competition, but yeah, I mean, I could register bench only in anything. I obviously know that, but we'll see.
I don't know if SPF does like bench only meets.
They have before.
Have they?
Mm-hmm. They've done push pull only before too.
I've never
which
seen
I'm not.
One, but
quad's definitely not ready
Right.
for a 600 plus pound deadlift. So, but yeah, good week all in all. What do you got for a PR song?
Let's see. There's definitely something on there.
Oh man, we got so much good stuff. I forgot. I'm gonna give albums today because I haven't had an opportunity to listen enough to them to find singles on these albums I liked a lot. But the new album "Cursed" by Paleface Swiss,
yeah,
it's a winner. Another great one, if you can tune out their politics, is "Clockworked" from Stray from the Path. Is extremely fucking good. And can't believe I'm putting a Christian band on here, but here we are. The album "Lonely God" by Fit for a King. All three of the songs that they've pre-released for the album's not out yet, but all three of those songs just heavy as balls. They rip. So,
so funny enough, I actually don't have anything prepared, so I'm scrolling through what I have liked recently. It's not new, but there's a song called Yokai by Within Destruction, which is pretty cool. It's got that dark, like Japanese vibe tone. Yep. That's the whole album. I think the album's called Yokai, so it'd be the whatever. Anyway, sorry, my brain's not working. And I mean, I could talk more about the Doom soundtrack because that's been on my repeat for a while now. I don't know if I put the new Shadows of Intent on there. They have a new album coming out. They have a single called Infinity of Horrors. It's really good. We'll just go with that because I was not prepared. I thought I was, but I was not.
That's fine.
So
good list. I hadn't listened to a lot of singles yet either, so that's the reason I just put whole albums on. So just
did Behemoth come out with a new album?
Behemoth's new album. I've already put it on there.
That's
one
right.
song, but yeah, it's
You said that one song specifically, and I have it.
Should have God.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's good.
It's heavy. Yeah, it's heavy. It's dark. Dark. Super heavy. It's about Behemoth may be about as dark as I listen to.
I mean, in fairness, if you think about a band that's going to burn a church, it's probably them.
Yeah, that's
like actively commit like
dark
sacrifice on stage or something. I would believe it.
But yeah, getting into the episode a little bit. You got some news, a little update on the drugs we talked about previously, and then something else to add with the trial.
Yep. So we were talking about BAM 15, I think last episode. We were just talking about some of the stuff that people had seen as far as the studies go with weight loss and stuff, which is still apparently it's not the main objective of this drug, but it is I forget, it's an uncoupler, a mitochondria uncoupler.
Right.
But I was just scrolling through today, and the Gorilla Chemist made a post talking about it, and he was like, talking about how, yes, there is some weight loss as an effect of it, but it's not the primary. What they had noticed is that this drug is actually I'm not sure the science behind it, but is killing cancer cells, which is really interesting. So he is actually running a trial on someone in his family that has cancer. He's going to start on with a low dose. I think he said 25 milligrams 3 times a day, which seems like a lot to me, but he said it was a low dose, so I'll take his word for it. He's the chemist, not me. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. I'm going to keep tabs on it because
God helps him if he cures cancer. Somebody might fucking
kill him.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it wouldn't be him that cures cancer. It'd be whoever made BAM 15
True,
or discovered it or,
yeah.
or whatever however you would say that. But anyway, that's a curious development on that, and I think you mentioned that we said we wondered if it would be cancerous, and well, apparently
it's the opposite.
So no worries about getting cancer if you decide to take BAM 15.
Man, just the stuff we've talked about with the peptide market. We talked about the myostatin inhibitors. Did we talk about them on the show?
I don't think so, but that's
the possibility to build muscle without rapidly without an anabolic.
Yep,
might change the health of the entire strength industry.
So that's what Dr. Mike, and he's the one who I've been following that posts the most about this. He is calling this the aesthetic revolution. So if you follow RP Strength, you've probably heard that phrase before. If not, this may be new to you. But basically, he's just talking about all these drugs that are coming out that are making it so easy for people to get the body that they want. So you think about like the weight loss drugs, like the Ozempics and stuff.
Yep.
They're not perfect, but they're the best that we've ever had. And if you follow your diet correctly, like you're supposed to, eat things you're supposed to, you're really uninhibited in your weight loss. Like you just lose weight. The problem with this drug is that typically you see a large amount of muscle loss as well.
It comes with rapid weight loss, though.
Right.
We talked about that. I actually had a client who, that was my concern at the advent of these things. Not really the advent, but when they first started getting popular, is this going to cause muscle loss?
Yeah.
And he was also at the same time doing some gym related injuries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wanted to fiddle around with maybe this being
an option.
And his doctor came back with a really smart answer, and it's the one I kind of expected. He was like, "Listen, man, it's just live your life in a calorie deficit now. Like, you can eat your protein, you can go to the gym, but you've lost, X amount of weight this fast. Like, you're just not as strong as you were.
Right.
Like,
it's just going to happen.
Yeah. Like, it would have happened if you were starving yourself to death or in a calorie deficit of any kind or anything like that. If you were doing this without the drug,
mm-hmm.
this would still, these are things that just happen with weight loss.
Yep.
So it's important to remember that, you hear all these horror stories and stuff like that, but you don't know how that person was eating. You don't know what they're doing for themselves in and out of the gym. You don't know. There's so many other things to do it. And also these things are just inherently normal with weight loss.
Yeah.
Especially about something that's going to make you forget to eat.
Yes.
So if you're skipping whole meals, stuff like that, you're going to be you're going to be underperforming in the gym to some extent. If they're doing that, there's a good chance that maybe you're just not as thirsty either. And there's a chance that there's probably some dehydration associated with it. And we talked about dehydration spikes that risk of injury, gym-related injuries up pretty high. Like that's
and
one
your
of the
strength levels.
Joe has talked about this before. Is one of the main reasons for
injury,
gym-related injury is dehydration.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is going to come with these drugs if you're not on point with everything.
If you're not paying attention to what you're doing, a friend of ours, Albert, his dad was on or is on Ozempic or one of them. I saw a picture of him recently, and he has lost so much weight, and he looks very frail. And you can tell that he is basically starving himself and not eating like he's supposed to. And he's older. He's not really a gym person. He's not very active, but you can see like he just looks frail. Like he's almost got death face. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's challenging. But also I know from Albert, it's like, he's not eating like he's supposed to. He needs to be hitting that protein goal every day. He needs to prioritize eating when he can because he's not going to eat otherwise.
So my question to you for the myostatin inhibitors, I don't know if this is something Dr. Mike's covered or you researched on your own, but because of these things happen, do they necessitate the need for more nutrition in certain areas? So more carbs, more protein, more fat? Like, do they, or is they acting on their own, no changes to diet? I mean, I'm sure we know that diet maximizes
Right.
these things. So, like, the better you eat, the better
Mm-hmm.
the results.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But is there a requirement in
So
terms of your dietary intake?
So my understanding of the myostatin inhibitors is that your body wants to grow muscle constantly anyway. The way the myostatin inhibitor works is like a valve. You're either shutting down
Or you're turning on?
or turning on. Like that's how myostatin works. It's like how much can we grow without bad things happening, right?
Sure.
Some people genetically are limited to the amount of muscle they can grow because of how much myostatin their body naturally makes. So these inhibitors basically turn that valve and go, how much do you take? How much can we open up? How much can we let happen? So independently of your diet, because your body naturally wants to just continue to grow muscle, it will just like, if you take enough of it, your body will just basically retain the muscle. Like it'll just be like, well, I mean, I'm just going to grow the muscle to keep where I'm at. So depending on your dosage, like you shouldn't, independently of your diet, you should be able to maintain a certain amount of muscle mass. Will you grow? That part I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. I from the way it was explained to me, well, not personally, but the way I am interpreting it, because your body constantly wants to grow muscle, if you turn that valve all the way off, you will just grow muscle, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it
Sure.
makes sense to me. But I have this study pulled up, and Regeneron is the company that I've been following that have been doing these trials. This one's called Courage, and the headline of their study, the results confirm potential to improve the quality of semaglutide-induced weight loss by preserving lean mass. I'm going to try and read bits and pieces of this and basically the most relevant points. But the trial demonstrated that approximately 35% of semaglutide-induced weight loss was due to loss of lean mass. So basically that's saying you're not like, over a quarter of the weight that you're losing is muscle.
Yeah.
Combining semaglutide with muscle-preserving antibodies protected lean mass, sparing approximately 50 to 80% of the lean mass lost with semaglutide alone, while increasing the loss of fat mass. So you think about that, you're basically just like, hey, I'm going to like not lose nearly as much muscle and lose more fat. I mean, that's just complete wins.
Yeah.
So the drugs that they were using, semaglutide, and if I pronounce this wrong, I apologize. Trevogrumab, Trevogrumab. Trevogrumab.
I think that's how Dr. Mike said it.
So the trial demonstrated approximately 35% was lost due to lean mass. I read that. The interim analysis was conducted when 50% of patients reached week 26 in the trial. The combination was generally well tolerated. The triplet combination of semaglutide with both antibodies had a substantially higher rate of discontinuations due to tolerability issues and other adverse events consistent with the safety profile seen with garetosmab? Garetosmab.
Sure.
Garetosmab. Something like that. Garetosmab would be the is not the one that preserves the muscle loss or muscle retention, whatever. Anyway, let me see. I wanted to get to the data points that they had. Okay, here we go. So this was kind of like their fact sheet that they posted as far as their lean mass change. So semaglutide monotherapy, there was a change in lean mass of 8 pounds. This I'm sure this is like a general, like a average. The low dose combo, so that'd be the semaglutide and the trevogrumab.
Yeah.
They saw a loss in 3.7 pounds of muscle mass. When they did a higher dose combo, they saw a little more. They saw 4.2, and then with the triplet, they only saw a loss of 2. So the amount of muscle that they retained from the low dose combo was about 50%, 51 for the higher dose, and then 80% with the triplet. So that preservation of muscle mass was significant. Change in fat mass was for just the semaglutide was 15.3 pounds. The low dose combo 16.9. The high dose combo was 18.9, and then the triplet was 25 pounds.
That's incredible.
That's a lot. This is in 24 weeks. Like that's, or 26 weeks. It was a half a year.
6 months.
Yeah. So that's significant. Total change in body weight was 23 pounds for the semaglutide, 21 pounds for the low dose combo, 24.8 pounds for the high dose combo, and 30 pounds for the triplet. So you think about, they lost 28 pounds of pure body fat.
Yeah.
On that triplet combo.
Crazy.
28 pounds of fat.
Body fat. Yep.
Fat, like not weight. Fat.
I mean, what's that mean for a strength athlete? It's pretty fucking simple.
Yeah.
It means we've just cut a weight class and it's very similar in strength from
obviously
from the time before.
Your energy levels will be lower, right?
For sure. 100%.
But that
preservation of muscle mass, that also means that anabolic rebound is probably better because you retain more muscle, you have more muscle to burn calories, you have more muscle to get those hormonal responses we need from insulin, from testosterone, from everything in it. Has to mean that anabolic rebound has to be that much better, having preserved
that much muscle mass.
Muscle mass.
I mean, you're talking about 6 pounds of muscle.
That's something, if it becomes available in the black market, could change
bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman.
Yeah, I mean the entire world of strength sports.
Yep. Basically, and everything except for
not
tested
to mention
sports.
These things are tremendously safer than stimulants like people normally use, like clenbuterol, or some people take Adderall. Some people, there's like, we're already using. Well, I shouldn't say we because me and you don't, but people already use like high doses of stimulants to help aid in weight loss, so that they can get that anabolic rebound and come back up, or cut for a show and then get the anabolic rebound and come back up. Like, so the idea, these things we know are safer than stimulants. There's going to be drawbacks to everything, but like, that's like that amount of muscle retention across 30 pounds. The triple dose was 2 pounds of muscle loss.
Yep.
For 30 pounds of fat loss.
Well, 28 pounds of fat
28
loss.
pounds, so 30 pounds in general.
30 pound total.
But 28 versus 2, that's a trade-off everybody in strength sports would take
instantly,
100% of the time. Yep.
So that was the first 26 weeks. That was a weight loss phase, right? So after 26 weeks, they entered into another weight maintenance phase. So this phase, they would either receive a higher dose of the trevogrumab. That's what I'm going to say.
Trevogrumab.
And that was just going to be monotherapy or placebo. So they were going to get either the actual drug or not. What they have available showing, let's see, is that acronym? It says EEAE. I don't know what that acronym is. I really need to know what that acronym is to actually be able to explain this. But it doesn't tell me what the acronym is.
What's the context?
It's participants with at least one TEAE.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, I would love to talk about this, but
that's the good thing about these. They're on the Courage website.
This is the Regeneron website.
So, but it's not on PubMed yet.
No.
PubMed would have explained those abbreviations and stuff.
So I'm sure there will be data that
is a little easier
to read, but obviously just looking at it on the how they are dosing things, everything on the triplet looks to be better. The higher dose and the low dose is very similar, except for in a few things. Man, I wish I knew what that was. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Treatment emergent adverse event. And then SAE, serious adverse event. So I guess this is like people who had issues. So it says 65% with semaglutide had an adverse event. The low dose combo and the high dose combo had a 68%, and the triplet had a 77% adverse emergent event because of the treatment. A severe event, it was 2% on the semaglutide, 1.4 on the low dose combo, 3.3 on the high dose combo, and 10% on the triplet. So it does appear to be that there are like
side effects.
There are side effects, severe side effects in 10% of their subjects is a little bit. It's a little high.
Yeah.
It depends on what the severity of it is, right? What are they classifying as severe? Because they don't really specify. It does say that there was an event that led to treatment discontinuation in 4.6 of the semaglutide by itself. The low dose combo was 4%, high dose combo was 10%, and the triplet had a 28% discontinuation after the 26 weeks, or during the second 26-week period. So it does appear that people are like having issues with it and then stopping.
Sure.
That's a fairly high.
28 is pretty high.
But that's also it could have been something, it's some adverse event happened that made them say, I don't want to take this anymore. But it doesn't specifically say what, right? So it could be something like as simple as I had pimples and I didn't want pimples, so I stopped taking it. Like it could be it could be as serious as stroke.
Yeah.
So, and that I'm going to get to a little bit more on that in a second. Treatment-related adverse effects. It's showing 47% in the semaglutide by itself, 48% in the low-dose combo, 56% in the high-dose combo, and 63% in the triplet. So pretty high as far as adverse effects from what we're seeing. But again, we don't know what these adverse effects are.
Sure.
There's not like a real breakdown, at least as far as what I've read so far. There is a note that is important. 2 deaths occurred in the triplet group. One was an undetermined cause in a patient with multiple cardiovascular risk factors, and the second was due to a cardiac arrest in a person with a history of cardiovascular disease. But Regeneron has not identified a causal association between treatment and these events. So 2 people did die during this, so that's pretty serious.
What was the size of the study?
Let me see if they said. I'd be curious to know if they have.
If it's 1,000, meh. If it's 100, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
doesn't look like they have the total amount of people, at least in what I have read about so far.
That's also probably forthcoming on the PubMed.
Yeah, I'm sure all this will come out in more detail.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're trying very hard to push this into the market, so they're gonna want as much research on it as possible to get it approved. It also does have another note that the safety and efficacy of these drugs have not been evaluated by any regulatory authority. So, it's just like we're just running experiments on people who are willing to take it.
Sure.
So if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the people that they were trying to get to start the study were mostly obese people.
Sure.
So their goal, like, it makes sense with the cardiovascular health of 2 people being significantly, poor, causing them to have a heart attack, which could have been a number of different things and not necessarily associated with taking these drugs.
Like, we don't know.
There's no correlation that they could find because everybody else was fine and they had a history of these risks. So, but it is something to keep in mind, especially if this comes out on the black market. The people did die taking this, whether it was caused by it or not.
Yeah.
I feel like when I look at this, if you give it to a relatively healthy person, there's also the thing where you can't really know as far as these clinical trials go, because they're not like telling, as far as I know, they're not telling people what to eat specifically. They might tell them to be in a deficit, they might not, but like they could be eating garbage and continue to eat garbage. And that's one of those things with that drop off rate on just the semaglutide. Could be because they're eating garbage and they're throwing up because they have food rotting in their gut because they're eating too much garbage.
Yeah.
So you do have to take these studies with a little bit of like,
gotta take it with a grain of salt.
I wasn't gonna say grain of salt, but like you have to think about it. Like why? What are they doing? What are some causes of things that would make people quit this study or whatever? Especially if they were actively seeing good changes in their body.
Yeah.
So there is something to consider there.
For sure.
The rest of this is just kind of like some other stuff talking about they want to mitigate risks in future events. That's a lot of garble. But that was the gist of the study. It's very interesting. In spite of the casualties and the drop off rate, I am still incredibly excited about these drugs, specifically just because of what a myostatin inhibitor could do for a strength athlete or a bodybuilder. I mean, you just think about uncapped muscle growth. like you could just put on size so rapidly. You would have to be incredibly careful because your joints are not going to grow with it.
Yeah.
One thing that I remember I talked to Albert about that there was like a concern with was like, well, is it going to be like growth hormone? Or your organs going to grow? Not, and it's not the case because it only affects skeletal muscle.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's interesting. I'm very interested in seeing what happens with these drugs. I was going to sign up if they would let me. I would have taken them. I would have been like, look, put me on it. I don't care. Like I'll give it a shot and see what happens. But it should be cool. Keep an eye on the future. Keep an eye on Regeneron, Trevogrumab, and whatever the hell the other one was that I don't care about because it's weight loss related. that one might be more important to some people, but to me, the myostatin inhibitor is the important one.
Sure.
Because I stay relatively lean, so like I can, if I can just put on more muscle, that'd be really freaking cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, those were kind of like the two big things that I had. We were talking about some, what was it? There was how pharmaceuticals are being like created by AI at this point. Dr. Mike has talked about this a ton. He's super, super into it. He's super into AI as well. He's like a total nerd. But it's fascinating if you think like because they're talking about all these other possibilities with the AI pharmaceuticals and how quickly they can find combinations of drugs that basically create a cure for things. Like what happens if this gets into like these muscle building drugs and these fat loss drugs? Like what happens when AI gets a hold of those and it's like, oh, you just need to twist it here, just make these little adjustments to whatever. It may even be as simple as like, oh, you just need to take this amount specifically or whatever, and just like dosing it properly. The idea behind it is kind of insane. And if you had told people like 20 years ago, like, hey, one day you're going to take a pill and it's just going to make you grow muscle and not stop growing muscle, they would look at you like you're fucking stupid. Like you don't know what you're talking about. You're an actual insane person.
Yeah.
But it's like next year they might come. Like it's dumb.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, that's the kind of science that, that's the kind of things that science is supposed to be doing for us. It is what
solving
it is.
our problems.
I mean, it causes some too.
It causes problems a lot, but
so that's a good segue into my part of this and what is AI doing for me now.
Yep.
I'm trying to be, I know this cutting edge is a corny cliche, but the fact of the matter is in the personal training space, we're already seeing our jobs be replaced by AI. Like, if you're a general, I had a conversation about this with somebody the other day. They have a friend that's going to the gym, doesn't want to hire a coach because ChatGPT designs their workouts. And I'm sure that that's probably a fine place to start. Like, probably not a big deal, but there's a lot of things obviously it doesn't know, and ChatGPT in particular, the better information you give it, it begins to learn you, and it begins to. So if you're a coach like I am and have all these preferences, know what things need to be done, the adjustments need to be made, things like people's minimum effective volume, maximum recoverable volume, the accessory work we need to address specific issues and the big three, the accessory work we need to address injury issues, the accessory work we need to address aesthetic issues, whatever that may be. Like, it can learn you and it can help you program at that point. Just putting in, hey, I need a fitness program, probably not getting the answer that a professional would give you. But you know, I'm trying to find new ways to use it and whatnot. And right now it helps me with scheduling. It helps me organizationally. And if it has learned, since it has learned my programming, oftentimes I can ask it for something and it get relatively close. And then within a few messages, it has adjusted to the parameters I actually need. It's never perfect.
Oh, yeah.
But with some adjustment after the fact, we can get it pretty dialed in. For instance, my phone knows Austin's MRV, MEV. He knows what we can tolerate. It knows that he's on a 3-day split. It knows the accessory work, or at least the muscles I need trained specifically for him and his powerlifting needs. I can go in there and make adjustments on volume. I can go in and make adjustments on exercise selection, and all that stuff actually happens. So this is still my intellectual property. It's still my work. But as it learns my clients, as it learns my programming,
it becomes easier.
It becomes closer and closer, frighteningly close to Zach wrote this with pen and paper, and this is 100% his ideas, right? So, I mean, that's terribly convenient. I can't begin to describe to you how convenient that is. So that's nice, but a new way I have begun using it is I can upload, if Nathan was here and posed for me. So what I do now is I do relaxed front, double front bicep. We do a quad pose. We do side chest both ways. So we get hamstring, chest, a little bit of arm in it. And then we do back, a lat spread, back facing, double bicep, and then relaxed. And then we do the same thing, like shorts pulled up so we can see your hamstrings. But I can put all this information in. Like I've taken on bodybuilding clients that's looking to compete in Classic. I can say to ChatGPT, this is a Classic competitor. This is how much they weigh. This is, this is what I think needs to come up. These are what we're working on. Can you basically give me a body analysis of this client? And it doesn't have to be a bodybuilding client. I do it with powerlifters. I did it on myself, stuff like that. But it'll spit out based on previous winners as far down as you want it to go, even if it's the local level, Alabama. And it can say, based on these winners, this is where your client needs to improve to be ready for show ready, including conditioning, symmetry. Shoulder caps are small, back small, legs are small. Maybe, the back's not big enough and the waist is a little too big, whatever it may be. But I can do body analysis through ChatGPT now. Yeah. So much so that I can do like bodybuilding analysis like that, but I can also do like sport specific analysis. So I can say, this is a power lifter, these are his pictures. This is current total. This is current issues that we are working on. And it can spit out, hey, this person has a soft core. It's visible that, this person is, maybe they're a little fat. Maybe they're this, maybe they're that. To be this good of a presser, they have small triceps. They need more tricep. They need this, they need that. It's not gospel.
Right.
But to have completely 100% unbiased opinion, no feelings involved whatsoever, and to be able to get a body analysis out of that, That's incredibly good. It's so good that if I want to get even more sports specific, if I say this is a 17-year-old football player, he plays wide receiver. You know, he's good height. He's 6'1", but he's 170 pounds. Like, what are the things that we need to do to make him more college ready?
Mm-hmm.
And it will spit that information out.
Right.
Again, it's not gospel, but it's a starting point, especially for us personal trainers and coaches who are working with a lot of different types of athletes. If a kid comes to me, they may be a 3 or 4 sport athlete. They may do powerlifting in their spare time. They may be a football player, basketball player, and a baseball player. And we need to know what best suits them and their positions for all 4 sports.
Right.
So again, it's not gospel, but it is now all of a sudden you have a roadmap that we can build from. So much so you can it can analyze golf swings. It can analyze the swing of a baseball bat, throwing, whether that's pitching, throwing a football. Like it can analyze mechanics for you. Like if you upload a video. That's so crazy. Like the amount of power you have in your pocket is crazy. But as a personal trainer, I am trying to embrace that so that we have some idea. We're trying to take guesswork out of it.
Right.
We can say, hey, I got a quarterback now. If his throwing power kind of sucks, I can speculate and I say, we need more rotational core movement. We need stronger legs, a more resilient shoulder so we can, really fucking heave the ball.
Yeah.
Like that power comes from your hips. So, but I can do that. I can film him throwing and get feedback on mechanics that he needs as a quarterback.
Right.
Like, so this is, for me, it's really, really exciting. And for me, having to train, I'm not just a football strength and conditioning coach. I have kids that come to me for baseball, basketball, volleyball. I have a wrestler right now, which is new to me, but similar to powerlifting in that they have to fit into certain weight classes.
Yeah.
So like, that's not completely alien to us, but like I have all these different sports and parents hire me based on need to be able to analyze literally with ChatGPT any part of their body, any part of their game based on body composition, any info I want to put in it, like current skill level, anything like that. It's pretty fucking powerful.
That's kinda, it's really interesting what AI is capable of as it continues to grow, and like ChatGPT specifically is the most common one that people use. So the more information you feed into it, the smarter it gets. It's pulling information from the internet, from other users that are inputting stuff. So you just have this wide like library of knowledge that it
like
pulls
somebody
from.
much smarter than me, like even a peer like Bryant, going to DPT school to be a physical therapist. That's somebody, because it will scour the internet for you. That's somebody that might know the names of studies associated with quarterback throwing motion or yada, 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 whatever the sport may be. And he might be able to get it that much more specific, and it could be that much more helpful to somebody smarter than I am that can put better information into it. So ChatGPT is only limited by what you know.
Right.
You have, if you can ask it the right questions, you will get the right answers. So like the less general those questions are, the more specific they become. It is limitless in what it can scour to find that information for you. So like, as we get into more and more sport specific things, I'm really interested in using this for my bodybuilders and powerlifters specifically. But as we get more and more specific with things, we can address, like if I familiarized it with a squat pattern that I like for somebody, if I say this person is a very, very good low bar squatter, his squat looks a lot like Matt Winning's. If I said Matt Winning's name, it could like mechanically, this person is similar to Matt Winning. What can we do to make his squat more like that?
Yeah.
It would spit it out for me. Like, every squat's different.
Right.
So that's not really a super great example. But if you can relate it to Austin's a very, very good squatter. What does he have in common with the top squatters in the game? What is his mechanics look like that's different from the top squatters in the game? Like that's incredibly fucking powerful questions to ask. And like I said, the more detailed you get into it, the more specific of an answer you're going to get.
Right.
it's kind of black magic, to be completely honest with you. And again, none of it's gospel, but it can provide. It takes a lot of guesswork out of it, and it's going to provide you with a little bit more of a roadmap with less twists and turns, a little bit more of a direct path, if that makes sense.
If anything, it may just be a soundboard where you just like speaking into it and it gives you the same information that you're already thinking and it validates what you were thinking.
It does that sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. But like to be able to upload a video of somebody's squat mechanics, deadlift mechanics, anything that we do is incredibly, incredibly powerful. Yeah. So like, I mean, another thing we can do, I can ask it to pull, if I have football players, I can ask it to pull programming for what does I know this already, but what does a typical strength and conditioning program look like in the off season for an offensive lineman?
Right.
It'll give me that information. And then I can tailor that programming based on what I know about the athlete and what I think they need and that kind of thing. So like just to have it give you this basis, even if that's all it did, and it goes so much more than that, but even if it just gives you this generalized basis of this is what this person needs to be doing, I can go factor cap all the way down that list and like, but I have something to start with. Man.
Right.
So that's, like I said, it's kind of limitless. I'm less and less scared to use it all the time. I don't feel like it's replacing me. I feel like it's becoming very additive to my life and how I program, how I do things like that. So, having strongman clients now, because there's so many events to train for, there's X amount of things they have to do in the week that we as powerlifters don't. Like we're either powerlifting or we're in the off season, basically bodybuilding. That's really, we train for 3 events. Strongman, there's a unlimited list of things they might have to train for. So like to be able to prep for that and like what's the most generalized exercises we can get in that's going to positively affect the deadlift, the duck walk, a stone, some type of carry, some type of press, like
a throw
potentially. Like that's the hard part for me about strongman so far is it's been you have to look at it from a little bit more macro perspective that affects the micros, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like a front squat could be really, really powerful because they have to front load so much stuff in strongman.
Right.
Like, so if I can basically if I can take a front squat and it basically effectively trains somebody for 3 or 4 or 5 events, that's a net win for me. Like farmer's carries can be various apparatuses, but if a specific type of carry can have carryover to 4 or 5 events, that's the one we need to go with. Same thing with presses, squats, stuff like that. I have a hybrid athlete that is strongman and powerlifting, so we know she has to squat, bench, deadlift. We also know she has to carry, she has to overhead press. Like, and we're probably going to throw. So like, where does that fit into it? Accessory work and stuff like that. And it really takes that information and gets the convoluted crap out of it. The difficult thing about strongman programming is that the accessory work looks less like accessory work and looks more like another event because there's only so many movements we can train.
Yeah.
So like those people lack. I'm about to move Shelby over to a more generalized fitness program in the sense that it's going to look a little bit more bodybuilding like because we need certain things to come up.
Right.
She lacks the underlying muscle required to do these events. She's fine at the events. She has developed skill in these events, but she's just not strong enough at these events. So that's kind of regressing in a sense. We're going to go back to more gym bro shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a multimodality sport like that, it's pretty powerful to be able to have some type of guideline. So, I mean, that's a lot to think about with AI. But
AI is just crazy. And I don't know, this is completely unrelated to fitness, but have you paid attention to any of the video software that it does now?
No.
Have you heard of VO3? I don't know if I can find this video, but if you can watch this video, let's see, it was I think it was a drug ad. Oh yeah, here you go.
This is edited by AI?
No. This was made by AI. It was edited by a actual video editor.
But everybody in this is like AI. Character.
Yep.
That's wild.
Does it look like a legit pharmaceutical ad?
It does. Yeah.
That's what AI is doing right now. It's crazy how realistic it has gotten, specifically with like the mouth movements. It's still a little bit janky sometimes, but just the sheer just like, and the voice was also created by AI, and it sounds very human. Like you might catch a couple like weird pauses here and there, but also like when someone's reading off of a card and they're not a trained actor, they're probably going to have weird pauses. Yep. So it's like, man, that's also kind of scary just in the context of the world that we currently live in.
We talk about like deep fakes and stuff like so-and-so said this, I watched it.
Like, did you really
know this? Like, this is a whole nother level of like
political
propaganda could come from this, and lots of misinformation could come from this. I mean, I don't know if the storms in like North Carolina, you remember that like early in the year, into last year or whatever.
I think
North Carolina got wiped out by a bunch of flooding and stuff. There were AI images of Donald Trump riding around in a boat and helping people. That never fucking happened.
Right.
And they were really shoddy images. They really weren't good. But you still had old people that can't see and probably can't identify those kind of things, like singing this guy's praises because he's,
on
in a suit and a life jacket on a boat in North Carolina saving people. That didn't fucking happen.
Right.
Like, we know that, but like, think about like, it's obvious, and think about the negative effect that has when it comes to political perception and stuff like that. Same, by the same token, they could have had, a fake of Kamala, cussing a bunch of kids or something, and like, you know what I mean? Like, so like, it's pretty dangerous, you know what I mean, in that sense. And I'm a crazy third party voter. I say fuck them both, but
right.
I don't give a fuck. But it still galvanizes people in a one direction or the other.
Yeah,
and that's incredibly sketchy.
Yes,
like, I mean, think about where the world would be if Hitler had that, in the 30s and 40s, in a very fucking bad place, right? Like, that guy was king of propaganda, is what they said. Like,
I mean, how else did he get that many people to believe in him?
If you wasn't Jewish, every German person loved that guy,
yeah.
And it was mostly because he had this huge fucking propaganda machine and like believed in it and made other people believe in it, right? So like, that's like scary. Extremely scary stuff.
Right.
Like,
imagine him just being like,
you have world leaders that are arguably capable of the same type of atrocities right now.
And then with the power of AI, they could tell all of their citizens that this person who we hate now did this thing.
We have it on video.
Like, we have to do something about this and rally all these people. And
I mean, that's
it's
particularly dangerous for demographics that can't tell the difference. So
older people.
I'm thinking about older people, but indoctrination of kids for one political stance or the other. It happens on both sides of the aisle, so I don't want to hear it from fucking anybody.
Yep.
One reason I don't want to send my kid to a public school.
Yeah.
But that's neither here or there. But like people that are more impressionable, whether it be older demographics or younger demographics, that's like particularly fucking dangerous, right? Running ads and stuff like that, that's pretty, like, we can do this cheap. Like,
cheap,
for the cost of the cost of an editor.
Yeah.
So that was the point there was a $500 video versus a $500,000 video. It's like, well,
negligible.
Yeah.
Like, differences.
Negligible differences. It's going to get scripted.
Yep.
So you probably have a writer, you have an editor.
Yep.
Outside of that, AI does everything. Like, I mean, it sucks that a lot of actors are about to be out of a job, like, especially low level people trying to get, trying to get into the industry. It is suck for what it does for the art. I don't like the band, but Ice Nine Kills just got into some shit for some AI generated art supposedly, and I'm sure it was commissioned. So
right.
like the band probably had very little to do on it, but at the end of the day, they still signed off on it, said we're going to use this artwork, stuff like that. But like, you have it in the arts rampantly already.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that was the primary start of AI, was generating art in like different mediums. So now we're just seeing more capabilities of what it can do, and it just.
I have a mentor of mine that told me embrace it. It's not going anywhere, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
He's a friend of the show, Richard Neese. Has me going in the right directions on this, but as it pertains to bring this back full circle, as it pertains to the fitness industry, us as personal trainers and strength coaches, if you don't embrace it, you're going to be replaced by it.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, why wouldn't, if you have
it's embrace it or die. It really is.
What is the difference between it and any other tool that you would like use, or any other person that you would learn from? What is the difference?
I mean, none really. If I wanted to check ChatGPT's, if I wanted to ask ChatGPT's right now, what's Chad Wesley Smith's, now that I'm on the paid version, what's his opinion about low bar versus high bar? Of course, I know it's going to be, depends on the person, depends on, but it could spit me out.
Right. It could tell you.
Well, Chad said this, this, and this, and this in this video, and this and this date, and likens it to this, and, this is his reasoning versus this was his reasoning for this. This was his,
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah. Instead of having to get on a call with Chad Wesley Smith,
and
pay him X amount of money.
He can pull all this information from prior YouTube videos he's done with Juggernaut and spit me out that information. I mean, so movements that I haven't coached in a while. I have an Olympic lifter now. Pretty good. I'm pretty good at competing, coaching the classic lifts. I can coach clean and jerk and snatch. But if there's something that I'm missing, something that I have forgotten about, something like that,
a new development,
I can ask it right away, and
just get that instant feedback, instant information. Basically, you could be in the moment in a movement. Something went wrong. Let me check them, and then, you said, you can pop it out, video it, and
we can run an experiment right now. Let's open this bitch up right here.
We do like to do these ChatGPT experiments on air.
Let's see. What's the key point? Well, I'm trying to think. What's the ideal technical points for an ideal clean and jerk?
There you go.
This is a very general question at first, so
we're
probably going to prompt it for a couple more things. It always gives you some type of little intro, but for the clean, the start position, feet hip width apart, toes slightly turned out, bar over midfoot, shins close but not pushing the bar, hips slightly higher than the knees, shoulders slightly in front of the bar, neutral spine, tight lats, chest up, eyes forward or slightly down. So we want to pack the neck, basically. Yeah. We talk about that in the deadlift, right? So first pull, which is floor to just above the knee, push through the floor, keeping back angle constant. Bar stays close to the body, straight bar path. Hips and shoulders rise together. Arms remain relaxed, focuses on the legs and back. Transition, or the scoop or second pull, as we call I call it the second pull. Some people call it the scoop. At mid-thigh, rebend the knees slightly under the bar to scoop. Torso becomes more upright in preparation for the second pull. Heels fully loaded, bar close to hips. Second pull or the explosion. So this is the turnover. Explosive extension of the hips, knees, and ankles. Triple extension. So this is basically like vertical jump, essentially. Shrug shoulders and beginning pulling with the arms only after full extension of the hips. That's important. Bar remains close and vertical. Do not swing it out. So that is caused by that upright row motion is what's going to keep that proximal to your body, basically. The pull under, or the third pull, quickly pull yourself under the bar while actively rotating your elbows around and up. Catch the bar on the shoulders in a full front squat. Elbows high, chest up, bar on deltoids, not hands. That's going to depend on mobility. Front squat recovery, stand up with a tight core, vertical chest. Feet adjust if necessary for the jerk. Then it gets in the jerk dip, feet under hips, bar balance over midfoot, vertical dip, knees forward, torso upright. So a common fault in that, people tend to like pitch forward, if that makes sense. Yeah. Controlled quick dip, not deep, loading the knees like a spring, or loading the legs like a spring. Drive explosively through the floor to extend knees and hips. Bars travel straight up, do not push forward. So it's going up and over your head, not out. Split or power under as the bar reaches maximal height. Aggressively push yourself under it. Front foot moves forward, back foot moves back and down. Torso stays vertical, bar directly over the spine, head pushes through. Catch and lock out, arms are locked out, bar stacked over shoulders, hips, and heels. Front shin is vertical, back knee bent, and heel off the floor. Stable base with weight distributed evenly. And then the recovery, which is a step back together. Front foot moves halfway back, then the back foot meets it. Stand tall with control, and with the bar overhead, wait for referee down signal. Key summary of the points, bar pass needs to stay close and vertical. Full extension, catch, solid rack in the clean, solid split and lockout in the jerk. Footwork, controlled and efficient, avoid unnecessary adjustments. Torso stays upright, weight centered in all phases. So for somebody that's never clean and jerk before, Nathan never has, so he may have just learned something. That was the full technique, okay? So I can say now, getting a little bit more in depth, how do I fix somebody's transition in the clean?
It's funny you said I've never done one before. I haven't done one before, but I actually watched a whole video on how to do the Olympic lifts.
So I said, how do I address poor transition in the clean? Identify what it looks like. Hips shoot early, bar stays low on the thigh, so no scooping action. Bar crashes in the catch due to poor positioning. No rebend under the bar, resulting in a weak second pull. Torso stays too inclined, never becoming upright. Missed time transition, either too early before bar reaches mid-thigh or too late, meaning you're extended before the scoop. The goal of transition is shifting from a pulling position, from a pulling posture, which a hip hinge or a deadlift, to a vertical power position. So you're going basically from a deadlift to now we're upright with knees and hips loaded, basically. Bring the bar into the hip crease, staying balanced over the foot. Technical fixes, slow pulls, pause above the knee. So now I can say we're going to do a full clean, but you're going to pause above the knee before we finish. Clean pulls from knee to thigh. So that basically is just that pull from that middle pull. Clean segment pulls, so you can segment the first pull and the second pull. Tall cleans or hang cleans. So this is going to be from the power position, upright torso. Hips and knees are loaded, so there's going to be slight bend here. And then cleans from the blocks from mid-height. And then it says use video full feedback to send to your coach. And then it gives me a list of coaching cues for those things, which, cues are very individual to the client. Right. It may not work, but nevertheless, that's an incredibly macro view. But if I wanted to say, get that more, or that further into it and start asking it questions about the questions I've already asked, it's going to continue to break this down.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just incredible.
Just like from what you input, we're talking like maybe 5 minutes, sitting there. This could be, depending on how intense their exercise, could be in the middle of resting with you there, just like type this in. This is where they're struggling. Okay, this is what and then
it's so powerful.
Like just
this
very
is stuff that
quickly,
could have been just. I started coaching Olympic lifting was in the CrossFit gym. So we're talking about like 2014, 2015, 2016. If I would have been able to have that's literally the way I used to have to do it. That's several hours of research to figure out what's wrong with one client. And that spit me out enough information to fix a room full of clients.
Yeah. In like 5 minutes.
In like 5 minutes. Yeah. So like, this is a very, like I said, very overhead view, not super in-depth view of this. But like, if you are a CrossFit coach and you have 10 people in a class that you're trying to learn if you're trying to teach them the clean and jerk, this all of a sudden has made your hour with them significantly simpler.
Yeah.
So, like,
and that way you can focus on other things while they're lifting.
Yeah, absolutely. And not even that. Like, if you were writing somebody's individual program, you said, "Hey, we have a problem with that. We have a problem with that second pull. How do I fix it?" Well, now we can program tall cleans. We can program pauses. We can do that kind of stuff to help address this person's issue. So, like, now if you start adding videos of that individual and it starts analyzing those, it could spit you out. If Nathan does a clean and jerk right now and it's 7 different shades of fucked up, but I have it on video, I can upload that video to ChatGPT and say, tell me what he's doing wrong. And it's going to tell you everything he's fucking doing wrong. So maybe to an extent that you don't need, but nevertheless, like, that's pretty fucking powerful. And that's the reason I say, if you're in this industry, it's time to start leaning on it instead of running away from it.
Right.
We've already, I mean, Juggernaut, the biggest AI brand.
Yep.
In powerlifting, probably. We've already started getting replaced. There's Shaco Gold. It's an AI program. There's Andy Wong and John Hack's AI program.
I forget what it's called, but yeah.
You have
Proven,
I think. Yeah. You have AI diet apps. You have man, you have so many things. If you keep running for it, you're gonna get beat by it.
Yeah.
So you need to learn to adjust yourself in I felt initially probably not something I would go unsaid. Originally I was like, it's never going to know what I know. It's never going to be able to replace, but really it really knows anything that you want to tell it. So, like, it's really additive in that sense. Like, it learns me as a coach and like how I program and everything else. So, like, you know, even to the point that, you know, it can spit me out cues, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, like, I don't know, we're already being replaced by it. So if you want to be on the up end of that,
right,
and not a victim of it, you probably should start leaning into it. So, I think intelligent coaches will. There are going to be coaches, maybe like Joe. I'm not going to speak on coaches in the state that may or may not be using it, but like, there's going to be coaches that inherently probably do know the fix without any help. But even still, there's the application like how I originally started using it, like
just to manage,
helping with scheduling, helping with programming, helping with basically just taking
a secretary role. Basically.
It's basically a secretary role, exactly. Like helping with scheduling, helping with stuff like that. Like even that gets you so much further down the road. It wasn't uncommon for Sunday to be a 12, 13, 14-hour workday for programming and scheduling for me that I can get done in 2 or 3 hours now.
Right.
That's sometimes like a dozen clients. So like, just think about that power alone. And then when you talk about the body analysis, stuff like that, like movement analysis, stuff like that, that's stuff that we didn't have access to.
Yeah. Now it's a couple minutes away. I don't know how much it costs, but
I think the year is like $70 a year or something like
cheap.
that. So like, and the amount I've used it already and the time it saved me,
paid for itself already.
Probably 10 times over.
Yeah.
And I've been using it for a few months.
Yeah.
So just something to think about. Like I've definitely changed my stance on it. And I'm definitely, when it comes to the jobs that we do, I'm definitely pro AI.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, it does. You got a dad joke for us?
I think I actually saved a couple.
Uh-oh.
That is one thing that I did come prepared with. Let me see. Because I saw one today and I was like,
While you're looking, is there any, do you have any moral or ethical qualms with what I just talked about?
Not really. I mean, we talked about it before and
I mean,
it's not, as long as you are not going in and saying, write a program for me.
Yeah.
And just saying like you're giving it the information or saying, hey, I want this specific stuff. And you're going in, you're also changing things after the fact. Like it might be writing you something, it might be saving you time as far as like getting all of it written out because it types, incredibly faster than you can, incredibly faster than I can. But like you're just going in and saying, well, I don't like this, let's change this. I don't like this, let's change this. And this just using it as kind of like a way to develop.
Yeah. Like I said, the benefit of it learning my programming is I have to make less and less edits
right
all the time.
So it just like, hey, I need, like, if it has all your clients on quote unquote file, let's say it has all their like statistics or whatever, like saved in its memory bank. You say, hey, I need a program for Austin for this week for I'm starting prep or whatever. I'm starting a strength phase or I'm starting a cutting phase or whatever. And it spits you out kind of like based on what you've put in before. And it's like, hey, this is something pretty close. What do you think? And then you go like, oh, that's not bad.
I can't imagine a time where something doesn't get edited.
Right.
Or like I don't ask it to replace an exercise or add volume or subtract volume or something like that. But, just the typing aspect.
Right. That alone just
it takes a while to type out 7 or 8 weeks of program.
Yeah.
Even copying and pasting, even if accessory work's staying the same,
yeah.
like that. You're still having to figure different numbers for
different
barbell,
lifts, different
all
reasons.
the barbell stuff, different things. So, like, just something to think about.
So, the fact that jellyfish have survived for 650 million years despite not having brains gives hope to many people.
Sure, it does.
What do you call an emo vegetable?
What?
A asparagus. When I was young, I was scared of the dark. Now, when I see my electric bill, I'm scared of the lights. I feel that one. Real. My dad used to always be like, you need to turn the lights off. And I was like, it's not that big of a deal. And then when I started paying my electric bill, I'd start turning all the lights off. Fucking big of a deal. Truthfully, it's your air conditioner that runs up your electric bill, but
that's kind of why I want an all-block building, baby.
I feel you. My doctor said he had my test results today, and I asked him if I passed, and we both kind of chuckled, and he said, you will soon. Me. What is this? Last night I accidentally glued together my thumb and my index finger. It'll be okay for a while. So dumb. All right, we'll call it there. There's a few good ones.
Well, that's the show, y'all. You can listen to us on Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, watch us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, leave comments, rate us 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. Just rate us. Let's do something. Share it with your friends, huh?
5 would be
5 would be cool. It's helpful. It definitely is. If you leave 4 or less, I want an explanation.
No. Which you can do if you write a review.
You can write a review. Yep, absolutely.
I think Apple Podcast does reviews.
Yeah. Thanks to the butcher, who hooks us up with meat and may or may not be doing our meal prep soon. Hopefully, pressure added. Thanks to Jam Logistics for buying our liquor, which we have not drank in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening. In the words of Andy Frisella, don't be a hoe, share the show. Please don't sue us. Bye, y'all.